Hello, everyone. Welcome to this message. Today I would like to approach the psyche in the terms of it being a city. So, we first start with the foundation of the city, which you could see as what lies underneath the city, right? The city being a representation of your psyche. So, this could represent the unconscious. This could be um, like this could even talk about um, like the roots of something. Like if we would be talking about a specific situation, perhaps, and this could be talking about the roots of that situation, or it could talk about what is going on in your unconscious, what is going on beneath the surface, perhaps, of things. And there's something about because this message could go in literally any direction, right? So I don't know what is going to happen, but more certainly we get a fire station, right? And and a fire station has, well, I was thinking about that. Like a fire station could be um, something about perhaps high alert, right? So it depends a little bit because, of course, a fire station is always ready to respond to a call. But what is that call exactly? Because that call could also be that you are immediately ready because your life is ready, for example, that whenever God comes to you and says, like, there is a calling, I would like you to go in a different direction, that you are immediately ready to go in a different direction, that you're immediately ready to respond to that call. It could be the call of people you need to serve, that you're immediately ready for that. So that could also be a fire station because a fire station is also there to help people, right? That responds to the callings of people to the call, right? So it could be that, or you could see it more negatively as like being constantly on high alert, but it doesn't really mean means you're ready as soon as there is a need for you to respond to an alert, as soon as you need to respond to danger, pretty much. But it doesn't mean that the fire station is very busy, right? You could have a fire station that doesn't have anything happening in terms of fires for months, for example, right? So yeah, so let's just see what we're going to be looking at. So, and the card that wants to be connected to that is the Knight of Wands. So, which is also kind of interesting because this person has a helmet on, a little bit like a fire helmet, you could say. So he could most definitely be a little bit of a firefighter, although he is a knight, of course. So yeah, so the Knight of Wands is I guess like someone who's ready to take charge, who is ready to take charge, who is ready to take action. So whenever an action is needed, or whenever you need to take charge of a situation or whatever, like you are ready for. So it makes me think about much more about being ready for the call, maybe, right? Because a knight is also like a little bit of a firefight in the sense that this could be like a knight who is ready to respond to a call, right? The call of God, to respond to the callings of people. So there could be something like that that's happening because there's like a fire station happening underneath, right? So it could be that you are very much ready to respond to a calling. So, for example, if there would be a calling of the people, for example, a calling of humanity, a calling of people needing your help, could be clients, right? If there could, if God like asks you to do something, right, that you are immediately ready to respond to that call. So I think it's that, but it could also just be something like that you are just on high alert, immediately ready to perhaps take charge of a situation, right? So whenever you need to show leadership, you are there. And it's very interesting that he has like a helmet that's over his eyes. So these are even like things that you're completely unaware of. So you are ready for the unknown, you could say. Um, and then the let me go to the town square. So this has to do with the town square is where is a very public place, you could say, right? So I guess like anyone could go and visit the town square. So let's see. And this would be a mathematical research institute. So that's very interesting, right? So you are doing mathematical research. It's fascinating. So math has to do with, I guess, like facts, perhaps. So maybe you are dealing with facts. And it's very interesting that the Queen of Swords is the way in which it wants to be depicted. So the Queen of Swords is is most definitely someone who is very much a fact based, you could say, very much fact based. Yeah, she is considered to be a little bit, yeah, sometimes cold, rational, factual, logical, able to set boundaries, able to make clear decisions, be clear in her communication because she's a really great and clear communicator. So, yeah, so let's see. So there's something about being that on the town square there is a mathematical research institute. And this is how people perhaps see you. But if the outside world looks at you, what they would be seeing, that would be a mathematical research institute. Yeah, I would think like math is based on principles that never change, on facts, on logic, on yeah. So maybe there's something that it could be that you're coming across to the world as like someone who like for example as it comes to decisions or boundaries, maybe other people realize that those boundaries are not going to change, that because they are based on principles, right? So maybe to the outside world, maybe other people looking in would say um, that they understand that these boundaries won't change or that your decisions won't change because your life is based on logical principles, perhaps, right? On principles that don't change, on logic, and logic doesn't change, right? The facts don't change. Um, because math doesn't change, right? The math is now the same, will be tomorrow the same, will be in the future the same. So maybe there's also something about maybe that they are seeing you, maybe you are very same in a sense, right? So maybe you on the one hand you are like someone who is stating very clear boundaries and people understand that these boundaries are based on principles and on logic and on facts, and especially that they don't change because math is something that doesn't change, right? These principles, it's not like one day all of a sudden these principles are going to change, right? So so there's something about that your boundaries are not going to change, your principles are not going to change. You because it's based on logic, on logical principles, and so people realize that that is not going to change, and also perhaps they are understanding that you are not changing. Perhaps could be something like that. So yeah, that's something to do with that. So let's see. So you are ready. Maybe it also has something to do that you are ready to respond to the calling of humanity, that you are ready to respond to the call of God, that if God guides you in a different direction, you're going to move in that direction. Maybe that's also a principle that doesn't change. Maybe it is even the essence of who you are in a sense, that as soon as God comes up with a different direction, calls you in a different direction, that you're going to be listening to that and that won't change. And maybe people understand that it's a principle. It's almost like math. right? A mathematical principle, a logical principle, and those principles don't change, right? So there's something about that they understand that the boundaries you have set won't change. And because why is it not going to change? Because it is based in a calling, listening to a calling for humanity, and also listening to a calling from God, right? Listening to a calling from the Spirit, right? So that's why this is not going to change. So you are probably presenting yourself in something like presenting yourself as you are, right? So and there's something about that people understand that you do not change, that they understand what doesn't change in your personality, for example. And what doesn't change is that if God comes with a calling, if there is a calling for humanity, that the calling for humanity comes first. The calling for as it relates to God comes first, right? The calling of the Spirit comes first, not anything else, right? So you always respond to that calling, and once you set boundaries, like those boundaries are set in relationship to your calling, right? The calling of God, the calling of the Spirit, the calling of humanity as well. So that's why it doesn't change, right? And this is the present moment right now. So let's see. And then we're going to go into the construction side. So yeah, what is being built right now? Where are you directing your energy currently? And there's also a lot about potential and growth here as well. And this relates to the Eight of Cups, because also last time, right, we connected the Eight of Cups to a deserted monastery, right? So, like when I asked which card would be best representing the deserted monastery, also this card came up last time. So, so let's see. So you are directing your energy and you are constructing because it is a construction site, right? So there is a lot of potential. There's a lot of construction happening in terms of where you are growing your potential, where you are starting to build things. You are building things within the concept of a deserted monastery. So it means that you are moving away from society and you are walking your own path, right? And this most definitely has something to do with, especially if we relate to these cards, like you are following the calling of God, right? So you are moving away from society because you are responding to the calling of humanity, because you are responding to the calling of God, of the Spirit, right? Your spirit. So that's what's happening. And of course, this card traditionally is a card of someone who is seeking to find emotional fulfillment, who is seeking to find more happiness, right? And is sometimes going on a vision quest, right? So something that is guided by the spirit. So it could be that you are finding yourself right now, or that you are being called on a journey, like a divine journey, a journey guided by the Spirit, a journey guided by God. And it's also for the sake of humanity, right? So you are moving away from society for the sake of humanity. That's why you're doing it. So like on a deeper level, you are doing it for God and for humanity pretty much, and for your spirit as well, right? So you're following your spirit, you're doing it for humanity, and you're doing it for God, right? It's a calling. You're responding to a calling right now, the calling of God, the spirit, and humanity. And so as you are finding emotional fulfillment, you are finding emotional fulfillment because it's kind of peculiar, right? Because you are finding emotional fulfillment. You're going on this journey. You're seeking happiness and fulfillment. Why? Because this is a calling for humanity. So you are responding to the calling towards humanity by actually finding emotional fulfillment, by moving away from society, by moving into this deserted monastery, which is also literally a sacred place, right? You go into a deserted monastery far away from society to connect with God, right? To be alone with God and to respond to a calling, the calling of humanity. And as you are doing this, you're being called on a journey to find emotional fulfillment for yourself, to find happiness for yourself, to go on this journey you need to be on for the sake of humanity as well, and for your to respond to the divine calling upon your life, right? And also your spirit is calling you towards that, which is of course related. um so let's see. So that's where you are directing your energy. You are directing your energy to go and move away from society and connect with God, right? So that's what you're doing. Then let's see. So this next part has to do with which is a little bit like where the elite live, right? Or like a part of the city where nobody gets to go. It's like a non-access kind of area. So this is your private space. This is your hidden space, you could say, of the psyche. There may also be things in there that you are protecting, that you are keeping secret, and this could also pertain to your boundaries as well. So there's something about the strength card. So we're getting the strength card as the answer in relationship to that you are building a, like, what is in that hidden space? It would be a conservatory. A conservatory, and it specifically is, I don't know what I wrote down. Yes, an, the Iron Rose Conservatory. So you're building an Iron Rose Conservatory. So I wonder what that means. It's a very interesting answer to get. And it relates to the Strength card because the Strength card was chosen to best represent this Iron Rose Conservatory. So let's see. So, Iron Rose Conservatory. That's difficult. I don't even know. Like, a conservatory is where you, I guess, like, keep keep things. Maybe you conserve things there. If you conserve things there, what are you conserving there? So there's something about what is hidden, what you are keeping private, could be your heart, in the sense like your, like a guarded heart. So there's, it's kind of beautiful, a guarded heart, because the Iron Rose Conservatory has to do with like um anything to do with a guarded heart is being put to the side in a sense, right? It is um it makes me think about that you are, because it's kind of like a gated community, right? So you are putting it away. You are putting it away in your for safekeeping, perhaps. So there's maybe something about a guarded heart that's being your guarded heart. You are conserving that. Maybe you are putting that aside. I think you're putting that aside for safekeeping. Um, maybe it's also like a fenced, because it is a gated community, right? So it like you, no one can access that. So it could be that nobody can access your gated heart. So whatever is in uh whatever you keep in that gated heart, right? Either you've put your gated heart aside, like the idea of like having an iron heart, right? So that you, either you have kept that aside into the conservatory for safekeeping for the future if you ever need it again. Maybe you can get that that iron heart, you can get that back again, like whenever you need it. But it could also be something like what you are protecting. Maybe you are protecting your heart, perhaps, because it's in a gated community, right? So nobody gets to access that. So maybe nobody gets to access your heart, perhaps. Maybe you are guarding your heart, perhaps, or it could any be anything, or you're putting it aside, perhaps. Could also be that. It's quite hard to say, but the the strength card is chosen to represent that. So let's see. So you're keeping your strength hidden, perhaps. Maybe there's something about the angelic. Maybe you are showing much more of your angelic side, perhaps, and maybe because it has something to do with raw power. I received that. The ability to endure raw power. taming yourself, right? So it could be maybe you're putting your raw power aside, but you are ready, right? Because that first card says that you are ready. Like the moment that you need, because now it's becoming very clear. It's like the moment that you need, because that's what this is. That's the real. That's what this Iron Rose Conservatory is about. It's about your raw power. It's about your ability to endure and you taming yourself, right? And what are you taming? Like the lion in you, you are taming that, right? So it has to do with because this person is also ready to take charge whenever because the Knight of Wands is someone who takes charge, right? Who takes action. So I think as well as the Queen of Swords is also someone who would definitely take action, who would be very very clear, who is definitely a leader figure, right? Would be very clear in her communication. So, but I do think that you are putting that aside, right? So that's my was my first inclination. That's exactly what's happening. You're putting your leadership side in the sense like raw power, um, or your ability to endure things. You taming yourself in terms of your raw power or your ability to endure things. There could be something about that you are putting that in that gated community that nobody gets to access, right? So it actually becomes quite fascinating because it means that nobody gets to access that raw power, right? So nobody gets to access your ability to endure. Nobody gets to access what would happen if you wouldn't be taming your raw power, or you are not going to be taking charge unless, but you are ready to take charge, right? You are ready to take charge, but there is a part of you that other people cannot access. In terms of your power, they can't access that in some kind of way. It's a little bit maybe like they can access the angel, right? So in a sense, like the angel, like having a like the angel is also logical in a sense, right? Because the angel is a great communicator usually. Like if you've ever connected to angelic energy, like when I'm really, really connected to angelic energy, it actually makes you incredibly loving and nurturing, but in a sense, it is incredibly clear. So your communication is incredibly loving but also incredibly clear at the same time. So it is highly empathic, highly um good at communicating, highly logical as well. So it's kind of fascinating because angelic energy to me is very, very logical. It's very good at communicating things. It's incredibly empathic in terms of being able to communicate something. So it's a little bit like the Queen of Swords, but in a very specific kind of sense because the Queen of Swords is cold, right? An angel is not cold. An angel is is just as logical as the Queen of Swords. So highly logical, enormously good at communicating something with enormous amount of tact, with enormous amount of patience as well, and like being able to communicate something in a way that you can really that's really focused on another person, and it's also highly empathic, right? But in a very, very clear and logical sense. So it's really, really quite beautiful. So I think that's the part that you are showing. This very logical, clear, great communicator, like a communicator with tact, with patience, um, with an incredible ability to be there for another human being, to be incredibly empathic towards another human being, um, and to have like those conversations that really change things, right? Like angelic conversations, divine intervention kind of conversations, right? Like really, really, yeah, really clear, and very enormously patient, moderate as well. Like an angelic energy is incredibly moderate, like neutral, you could say. So maybe you are incredibly logical, neutral, patient, moderate, a great communicator, enormously empathic in like as you are connecting to people, but also incredibly logical and incredibly clear as well. So it's really beautiful, right? So I do think that anything other than that, like the lion, which is much more like a having to take charge of a situation, which is there because you're putting it in a gated community, so it is there, right? But nobody gets to access that side of you, right? Although you would be ready to respond with that when necessary, right? But you are responding to the call of humanity, which is a little bit like an arch, like an angel, right? An angel ready to respond to the calling of humanity, an angel ready to respond to the calling of God, of the Spirit, and being highly focused on yeah, most definitely great communicator, logical communicator, with an enormous amount of patience and empathy, like angelic patience, right? Angelic empathy, angelic logic, and angelic ability to clearly communicate. So that's what this is talking about, to get through to people, right? To really change things. And there's something about that you are ready for that calling, and that you are putting the this raw power side in terms of like that nobody gets to access that side of you, this side of you where you are need to take charge of a situation, right? So you don't need to take charge of the situation. So I see an angelic energy much more as someone who is a mediator, right? A very, very neutral mediator who can see everyone's perspective, bring everyone's perspective into balance with each other. So if you would have an angel in a group of people, right? Like that angel would listen to everyone, would be completely focused on everyone in the room, trying to be there for everyone in the room, and being like, okay, you don't see the side of this person, so allow me to be the bridge between the two of you, for example, or let me fix this for you, or whatever, right? Like there's something in terms of communication, right? Um, like you are ready to be a mediator, to be that to to do your calling, you could say, right? To serve as an angel. And this lion side of you, that's what you're putting in the gated community. Like nobody gets to access the lion side of you, although you are capable of taking charge. You are able to take leadership whenever you need it, but you will do it in a very, very angelic way, not in any kind of other kind of way. People don't get to access that, right? So that's what this means. And then we have the industrial district of your psyche, which is also where work is being done. So, and for this, I received that, and it's very much in alignment with the rest of the message. It is that this would be a soup kitchen or a shelter. So, your industrial district where work is being done, right? Where you are putting in practical effort. So, this has to do with that you are this is like a soup kitchen or a shelter. So it means that you are there for other people, right? And the card that was chosen to best represent that was the Five of Pentacles. Five Pentacles are people that these are people in need, right? People who are struggling in life, who are suffering. They're suffering financially, emotionally, soulfully. It could be anything, right? Like these people are literally suffering, and you are there. It's just like you are hosting a soup kitchen or a shelter for people who are in need, right? For people who need food, for people who need some shelter, who need some nurturing. So if we connect that to this, then most definitely you're doing angelic work. You are ready to respond to your angelic duty, to start um, hosting that soup kitchen, that shelter for others, right? So you're going to start um, just like we saw before, that you're going to be much more focused on the outside world. This has to do with being called to angelic duty. So you will start to show yourself as an angel, and you are going to be responding to that calling. So you're going to be uh, there for the back end call of people. So for me, this, for example, also relates to that my for example, I sometimes like in the past I used to feel like I was supposed to be at a certain place, and the moment that I arrived at that place, that people were like literally saying like, oh, I needed help, and now you, like, even before I could say anything, you are literally here, right? So you are ready to respond to the callings of people, quite literally, a little bit like SOS calls, like angelic SOS calls are going to be answered. So you are being called to be an earth angel, and you're about to go into angelic duty. So that's what you're about to be doing next. So that's really, really interesting, which also relates to anyone around you, to be very, very focused on the people around you and to start serving them as an angel on earth, which is absolutely gorgeous. Let's see. And yeah, so let's see. And then we're going to look at the horizon of the city, right? As you look at the horizon of the city, um, which has to do with a lot of things, right? But what you are aspiring towards, what you are envisioning as your highest potential outcome, and what I'm receiving is it is a cinema or a movie palace. So that's very interesting. A movie theater, right? I actually got a movie palace, so I don't know what the difference is. So a cinema or a movie palace is what is on the horizon. So you're seeing there's a movie theater on the horizon. So very, very fascinating what that could be. In a movie, you are screening things, right? So you are, like, as you're going to the movies, you are looking at uh, looking at movies. So you are looking at other people's experiences. Perhaps you are. It was definitely someone who is an outsider, right? And the card that best represented that was a Seven of Cups, which you can immediately see is a little bit like that screen, right? So it's really beautiful, really. So it's kind of like that scream of the movie theater, and so there is a lot of potential here, I guess. And sometimes there's also a warning. Sometimes we also see an SOS in one of the cups. I'm not really seeing that right now, but it could be that you are perhaps seeing the SOSs. So it could be that you are about to start seeing the SOSs, that you're about to, because you're going to be seeing things through angelic duty eyes. So you're going to be seeing like, oh, this person needs me for this person needs me for that. So it's like you're kind of going to be seeing the SOSs, like it's as though the world is showing you a movie screen of SOSs, like people who need help. So you're going to be seeing that whenever people need help as a true Earth angel, right? There could be a lot of potential as well, a lot of potential to perhaps be of assistance to humanity. You could also see it like that. A lot of dreams that want to become reality. So I do think these are the dreams of an angel, right? The dreams of an angel being able to respond to the SOSs of people. So it's kind of like for an angel, this is amazing, right? Like people who like all of these opportunities for people to help, right? That would be like an earth angel's dream, of course, right? So yeah, there's something about that. It's like it's really, really beautiful. And yeah, so maybe you are going to be moving into that in the future. So this is a goal you are aspiring towards, right? You're going to be making dreams come true. And there's also something about that you're going to be perhaps creating something for people. It could also be that you're going to be creating things that people, really beautiful things for people, and it could be related to that angelic duty. But I also think you're going to be probably seeing a lot of SOS, a lot of people you can help, or a lot of yeah, you're being called to angelic beauty. And then last but not least, we got um, the gates of the city. So what is arriving in your city, or what is departing from your city, and which is your psyche, right? Like what's coming into your psyche, what's coming going out of your psyche. Is there something that maybe needs to leave? Is there something that is about to enter next in your life? And here I received a very interesting, a high security prison. So I don't know what that means. Um, so in a high security prison, I guess you criminal people, perhaps, right? So maybe either criminal people are going to be leaving your life, or it could be that maybe there are criminal people waiting for you to respond to their SOSs. Could be that. There could be like if you are in prison, I guess like you have done something wrong, right? Although of course some people are innocent as well. So maybe you are going to be there for people who have done something wrong, who may have performed criminal activities. Maybe you are being called to that. It could be that. Maybe you are going to be assisting people who have done something wrong in some kind of sense, or maybe people, if there are a lot of people that are criminals in your life, maybe they are about to leave your life. So it could also be that, to be exchanged by maybe other people you are supposed to be helping. So it depends on your current situation. If there are a lot of people who have a criminal history in or around you, and they may be leaving your life, and then you're going to start like or people who have done something wrong in some kind of sense, who and like you are inviting people who genuinely need your help, or it could be people who need your help who have a criminal history or who have done something wrong, perhaps, right? So let's see. And then we have the six of the eight of swords that is connected to that. So maybe it could have something to do with maybe also people who are imprisoned in a sense, who are in a situation in life where they they feel like they are stuck, because this card of course looks a little bit like a prison in and of itself, but they can go out of the prison, I guess, like it's a self-created prison in a sense that you could escape from. So it could also be that maybe you are going to be escaping from a self-created prison, which could relate to a lot of people with a criminal background in your life, and you're going to be escaping that as though you're escaping prison, because there are a lot of people like that in your life, right? That have a criminal history. So you could see that as like this is a little bit like your life being a prison in that kind of a sense, perhaps. Or it could be that you are going to be escaping from some kind of a self created prison that you created for yourself. And maybe you're going to be like stepping out of that and like seeing completely different kind of experiences. It could be that as well, or it could be um, a high security prison is either coming into your like let's take it literally, right? A high security prison is either coming into your city or it's leaving your city. So it kind of means like if there are a lot of people who have a criminal background, and this prison, like just take it like an image, right? This prison is going to be taken out of your um, psyche, out of your life. Or it could be if you like know nobody who has a criminal background, um, that is not prevalent in your life, it could be that maybe a high security prison is actually going to be put in your city, right? Which could be that maybe there are going to be a lot of people who have done something wrong, who have a criminal background, perhaps, that you're going to be serving, that you're going to be an earth angel for. It could be people who are coming in with this kind of an energy, who may be coming in with so either if the prison was in your psyche, right, it could be you could see it as a metaphor, right? This high security prison is now leaving your psyche. So it could be that if you were in a some kind of self-imposed prison, that's going to be leaving now. So that could be like opening your mind, perhaps. Or it could be entering your life as well, right? Entering the psyche, which makes no sense whatsoever, of course. Um, so I'm not assuming that that would be the case, right? So yeah, very, very interesting. So maybe you're going to be seeing the way out of a certain experience you didn't think you could leave, for example, or maybe you're going to be helping people to leave situations that they didn't think they could leave, that some kind of self-created prison, feeling like they are stuck in life, and like getting people out of that stuckness in life, out of out of self-imposed prisons, out of maybe not knowing how to move forward, and you guiding them as to how they should be moving forward, helping them to remove this blindfold, right? So they can help themselves out. There's most definitely something about angelic duty. That's very, very clear. Maybe it will become clear like this, perhaps. So there will be lots of opportunities for you to be helping people. Lots of opportunities for you to be helping people. Like this. There'll be lots of opportunities for you to be helping people. It kind of makes sense, like people who are in self-imposed prisons, who are stuck, who don't know what the next step should be, how to move forward, who are literally imprisoned, who are who have done something wrong, who have a criminal background, perhaps. So there's something about that you're going to be helping them. Um, so maybe you are attracting that into your life, perhaps, right? It could be. So yeah, so I'm wishing you a very, very beautiful day ahead, and bye bye.